Some of my favorite times were sitting in my husband's grandpa's kitchen and talking with him about the old days. Grandpa was born in 1928, and he was full of frugal living tips from the Great Depression that his parents had passed down to him. He knew how to stretch a dollar. He was not a cheap man. He was a frugal man, and he knew the value of spending his money wisely. Grandpa understood old-fashioned frugal living. Of course, to him it wasn't old-fashioned frugal living. It was just frugal living. I remember one story he told about Grandma. They were a farming family, and she would work out in the fields with him in the mornings. When it was lunchtime, she would collect sticks on her walk back to the house so she could build a fire in the stove to cook. Times were different back then. I think that is why I loved our talks with him, and why I miss him so much today. Life was slower back then. Not easier, just slower. They didn't slide a frozen pizza into the oven for a quick lunch on a busy day. I don't think Grandpa even had a freezer back then, and even if he did, he would have known that homemade pizza was less expensive and tastier than a store-bought pizza. There are many frugal living tips from the Great Depression that we could all stand to learn. Man, I miss him. But before I start crying, here are frugal living tips with a big impact that we learned from Grandpa. Number 1, cook from scratch. If you don't know this already, then it's time to learn. Cooking at home from scratch can save you hundreds on your grocery bill. Eating out is expensive, and buying prepackaged meals at the grocery store will quickly increase your grocery bill and still leave you hungry. Buy staple ingredients, grab your favorite cookbook, and enjoy preparing a nice meal. Number 2, eat at home. Eating out is one of the quickest ways to waste money. Restaurants are in business because they charge you more for your meal than what it's worth. Cook at home and save money. Number 3, plant a garden. I'll be the first to admit that I'm not much of a gardener, but I do try. This year, I have finally managed to grow big, beautiful tomatoes for my family. I spent about $10 in small plants, and they have grown and produced large sandwich tomatoes, as well as several bushes of cherry tomatoes. Not only have I saved my family money, but they also taste better. Number 4, grow your own fruit. Several years ago, we bought blueberry bushes, and since then, we have harvested enough blueberries each year to make ourselves and our 3 children incredibly happy. Plus, I make delicious blueberry cobbler from our homegrown berries. These bushes have saved us a lot of money over the years because quality, pesticide-free blueberries are not cheap to buy. Number 5, forage. We live on 5 wooded acres. We have wild blackberry bushes that grow on our property, as well as dewberries and wild onions. Each spring and summer, we enjoy homemade blackberry cobbler, dewberry leaf tea, and savory meals with wild onions. Keep your eyes open, do some research, and you might find that there are many things you can forage for in your own backyard. When we lived in town, we would harvest dandelion leaves from our yard to make salads. Number 6, eat less meat. Meat is expensive, and if you prefer organic meat like we do, it's even more expensive. So when you are trying to save money or pay off debt, the best thing you can do to save on your grocery bill is to cut back on your meat intake in your meals. We did this when we were paying off our first and only mortgage. We paid it off in 13 months. Some nights, we would have vegetable plates, and other nights, I would prepare Mexican food and replace the meat with black beans. It was so tasty. Number 7, make your own specialty coffee. If you're like me and you like a good cappuccino every day, or maybe even a few dozen pumpkin spice lattes in the fall, you have to come up with a more economical way to get what you want. Learn how to make your own coffee. Number 8, pack your lunch. This is a big soapbox for me. I know so many people who eat lunch out every day instead of packing their lunch and taking it to work with them. And you know what? They also aren't set to retire early like we are. Harsh but true. Pack your lunch. Number 9, buy your food in bulk. We have bought our food in bulk for over 10 years now. Our favorite company is Country Life Natural Foods. We buy bulk oats, rice, beans, lentils, coconut oil, etc. We save tons of money, and we're prepared for anything, even global pandemics. Number 10, cook with simple ingredients. This is basically a Great Depression survival tip. When you're on your debt-free journey it's not the time for salmon and avocados. Instead, buy inexpensive fruits, vegetables, rice, beans, pasta, etc., and turn them into something amazing. I'll never forget what Grandpa could do with a few sweet potatoes, a low brown sugar, and a pat of butter. Number 11. Learn how to make birthday cakes. I see so many people ordering birthday cakes from bakeries for their children. You can make them at home and save a bundle. My children and I enjoyed baking their birthday cakes together. Then they get to decorate it themselves. When we do that, we make memories and cake at the same time. Number 12. Learn the cleaning power of vinegar. There are so many uses for vinegar. Years ago, I did a little research to learn how to clean my house with vinegar. I wanted to rid my cleaning supplies of nasty chemicals. I learned that I could replace almost all of them with vinegar. I clean my floors, windows, bathrooms, kitchen counters, refrigerator, etc. with vinegar. It's cheap and effective. Now when I shop, I only have to buy one thing instead of raiding the entire cleaning aisle. Number 13. Save plastic containers. If you open my fridge, you will find that I store leftovers in large yogurt containers. Why would I spend money on fancy plasticware when I already buy it from the store and it comes with yogurt in it? Grandpa knew the money-saving power of reusing his plastic containers too. Except, Grandpa saved butter containers. Number 14. Wear an apron. My favorite apron is one my great-aunt gave me for Christmas several years ago. If you have ever watched the Andy Griffith Show and noticed the style of apron that Aunt Bee wears well, that's me. I'm all about some old-fashioned living and my old-fashioned apron. I love it, and it has saved so many of my shirts from being ruined. It's much cheaper to replace one apron than it is your entire wardrobe. Plus, aprons don't look bad with a few stains here and there, but your favorite shirt does. Number 15. Buy used. When it comes to clothes, cars, toys, books, etc., we buy used. We let someone else take the hit on the full retail price. Then, we buy the perfectly good item from our favorite thrift shop at a fraction of the price. Except for our vehicles, we didn't buy those there. I would like to mention that even millionaires buy used. We have used all of these old-fashioned frugal living tips over the years, and they have all made a big impact. This type of old-fashioned living is what helped us become debt-free and mortgaged, and pay off our first and only mortgage in 13 months. If you have any more frugal living tips from the Great Depression, leave them in the comments.